How are we going, everyone? It's that time of year, right? Prune your fruit trees. If you haven't done so, you got to do it, and that's what I'm doing here because I haven't finished all my trees. I've done my orchard, and I think I've showed you my orchard, what it looks like. We can go visit it another time. Behind here, where you can't see, is the nectarine. This is the one we sprayed the other day. For leaf curl, remember to spray your tree with the disease control pack. It's so important that you spray it every month to stop the leaf curl from occurring on it. Otherwise, you'll have major issues. Now, here is a pear tree, Pakenham Triumph. That's what it is here. There's a lot of upright growth. See all this upright growth? If I don't get rid of that, I'm not going to get any fruit off the tree. It's going to be really, really poor quality. Last season we had probably about 50 fruit. I want this to start fruiting like my apples do, 200, 300, 400 fruit on the one tree. Now what I'm going to do here is remove all the upright growth. Remember, a weeping branch like this is where you'll get fruit off it. This is the way the fruit will develop. So if you've got an espalier fruit tree or an open vase shaped fruit tree, it's perfect. All these weeping branches is where you get the fruit off. This is a summer growth. I've got to cut it back to two buds. That's what I like cutting it down to. 2 or 3 buds, back to there, even shorter sometimes. Now that's what's happening on there. They're fine, the weep on there. But these branches here, you'll notice I've already done some cuts. I already started on it. See this branch up here going straight up? That's useless to me. I can keep cutting it back down to there and I'll get no fruit or very little fruit if I'm lucky at all. But what I've got on that same branch, come around here, have a look at this. See, it's coming from here. We've got an upright branch going here and it's sweeping down to here. This is delicious. Sorry, that's my expression of nice. So this is going to be delicious because we're going to get a lot of fruit off this. We're going to take all these little wispy summer growth off, but what we're going to do as well is remove this. I don't need it up there. Look at that, arm's reach, already too high. If I cut it back to here again, it's still going to grow up taller and I'm not going to get any fruit. If I do, I'll be lucky, it'll be 1 or 2. So I'm cutting it back down to here. Again, same branch, over here. That's the other branch that's coming off this weep here. So these 2 branches, let's just smash it out while we're doing it, huh? And always be careful as you get to the end. You don't let the branch fall because it'll split and tear the bark off. You can do an undercut if you like, which just means cut underneath it first and then above. And now we're going to remove this. Now, problem here I have is, see the branch where I'm going to cut it? It's going to be almost horizontal, so I'm going to need to paint this over with either a hydrated lime or tree stack, or even just bluestone copper oxychloride spray on top, which is what we should do with this tree as well after we finish pruning. A few emails that came in asking me, do you spray before or after you prune? Spray after. What do you want to spray the branches that you're going to cut off? Take this one off as well. There we go. Now we walk around, see that's growing up, see that there, this is starting to weep out, this is nice, I like that, that's coming down, and there's another one here, so we're going to cut this one here off, from here back. Upright branch, don't want it, it's going into the middle, so we're going to cut it down to here. I mentioned spraying your tree after you prune. This is this time of the year, folks. Now, if you're talking about, because some of the emails come through to before or after, let me explain that a bit more clearly. Before you, in autumn, when the leaves start to fall off, so your first sign of leaf fall, that's when you start your first application of hydrated lime, bluestone, copper sulfate or leaf curl spray. And you continue that every month. Then as you get closer, because if you haven't done your prune, or if you've done your prune already, that's fine. But if you haven't done your prune in autumn, like the summer prune after you harvest, and you're doing one now like I am now, prune your tree and then spray it again with the bluestone. That's all you need to do. So, oh, it's looking fantastic. I've got to go back on that side. I've got that branch there to take off. Pretty tight space in here, folks. I'm sort of hesitant about cutting this one off completely because I like a couple of little buds that we've got here that may produce some good fruit for us. And plus we've got so much hedging here, it's too close. You know, you're going to have to say, look, there's so many branches on this. Look at all this down here. This is where all the fruit's going to come from. Also, the yellow stuff, the lichen, that's okay. It's not overpowering the tree at the moment. If you're worried about it on your tree, it means you've got clean oxygen, clean air here. It's a nice environment. But if it gets too extreme, you can spray with the bluestone oxychloride, the leaf curl spray as I talk about, our disease control pack, which is the cheapest way you can get your fungicide these days. You don't have to pay for retail packaging. Go online, vasili'sgarden.com, disease control pack. It's only a few bucks and you're going to be able to spray your tree 10 times over of what you get from a retail package. Spray it with that, it will get rid of this and it will protect your tree at the same time. Get a bit more light in here too. What do we got here now? That one's useless. No good. One more, I think, after this. And now we're going to cut all the upright growth, folks, all the summer growth that it's put on with a nice clean pair of secateurs. Spray with a bit of metho to start with so you don't have any problems with disease occurring. And at the end of it, like what I've done here, look, let me go back a step here, have a look at this. Okay, that's a little bit long for me. Couple of buds, nice and tight there. You can be pedantic, do an undercut or overcut of the buds. I know Craig and I, we talk about this, or Craig talks a lot about that undercut, and that's causing a bit of dieback and it forces it to flower. And what he means by that, or we mean by that, let's say it that way, is you find a bud, for example, this is not the bud that I'm going to cut back to, but for the purpose of the demonstration, there's a bud down here somewhere. See that down there? Normally you would cut just above the bud like that, you know, 1/2 centimetre above, right? That's a normal cut. In this case here, we're going to do an undercut. And that means cutting just underneath that bud there. So you've got all this stem here to die back. Now what happens there is, as that dies back, the tree thinks it's going to die off. So what does it do? Instead of growing a new shoot, it pushes that to flower and become a bud, or a flowering bud. So rather than a spur growing into the sky. So that's an undercut. Now, I've got so many branches here, I'm just going to risk it willy-nilly. You can go and be pedantic if you've got only a few, but I've got probably 1,000 cuts to do here. And I don't need them all. Look at all this going on here. That's all from the last year. So I'm starting to develop a nice little cluster here. All I need to do is cut back right to there, because there's so many layers there of years that one of those will burst out and become a fruit-bearing spur for me, like that. That's all I need to do once you've done that. And once you've finished pruning, get your disease control pack and spray your tree to protect it, and paint over the large cuts so you don't get bacteria getting in and water getting in and causing it to die off. Check it all out, vasilisgarden.com, for your disease control pack and easy hand spray. Major sale on those. Even though the end of the financial year is gone into a new financial year, we've still got some great specials on vasilisgarden.com. From me, Vasili, Maresi, get out there and prune.